you ever wondered how many people leave no trace in the world's archives? Today we're diving into the concept of legacy zero. This term isn't found in scientific or demographic textbooks, but it's a powerful idea. Legacy zero refers to individuals who, for all practical purposes, leave no lasting imprint in public records, digital archives, or searchable databases. Whether by choice or circumstance, these people remain invisible to the systems that document our lives. In this video, we'll explore the different meanings of legacy zero, from blood types to digital footprints, and uncover just how many people truly fit this description. Start with one of the earliest uses of the term zero in a global context, blood types. In many languages, what we call type O blood is referred to as type 0. This is because type O blood has 0 A or B antigens. Globally, about 37% to 45% of people have type O positive blood, making it the most common blood type. O negative, sometimes called the universal donor, is found in about 7% of the population. While this isn't the main meaning of legacy zero, it's a fascinating example of how the concept of zero can signify a baseline or universal starting point. Another context for zero is zero population growth, or ZPG. This demographic term describes a situation where a country's birth rate plus immigration exactly balances its death rate plus emigration. The result? Zero net population growth. While the world's population is still growing at about 0.8% to 0.9% per year, roughly 15% to 20% of people live in countries, mainly in Europe and East Asia, where population growth has stalled or even declined. This version of zero is about stability, not invisibility, but it's an important piece of the puzzle. Pop culture and science fiction, legacy zero can take on a whole new meaning. Sometimes it refers to unmodified humans in a world of genetic engineering, or to the first generation of survivors after a global catastrophe, Generation Zero. In these stories, legacy zero is about being the baseline, the unaltered, or the original template for humanity. It's a powerful narrative device that highlights what it means to be truly original or untouched by technological change. What if we define legacy zero as someone with zero imprint in any world archive? No digital footprint, no public records, no searchable legacy. This definition is much stricter and more philosophical. It asks us to consider not just what's recorded, but what's remembered and accessible. Under this lens, legacy zero becomes a measure of true invisibility in the age of data. Let's break down how many people might actually fit this definition. According to the World Bank and the United Nations, about 85% of adults worldwide are officially registered in state databases. This means they have a legal identity, pay taxes, or appear on civil registries. These records are the foundation of modern society, ensuring rights and access to services. However, being registered doesn't guarantee a public legacy. Many people exist only in these secure local ledgers, never appearing in public-facing archives or online searches. Now let's talk about the digital world. About 67% of the global population uses the internet, leaving roughly 2.7 billion people completely offline. These individuals have no social media accounts, no digital news mentions, and no online search history. For them, the internet is a distant reality, and their lives unfold entirely in the physical world. This digital divide is a major factor in determining who is truly legacy zero. We subtract the completely unregistered population from the completely offline population. We find a group that exists only in basic government ledgers. These individuals, estimated at 800 million to 1.2 billion globally, are fully compliant citizens who pay taxes and vote, yet remain invisible to global data brokers, search engines, and public archives. Their invisibility is both a product of circumstance and sometimes a conscious choice. Who makes up the legacy zero population? They are often the elderly in developed countries who never adopted internet technology, and rural agrarian communities in developing nations. These groups are fully integrated into their local societies but remain entirely invisible to the global digital world. Their stories, relationships, and achievements are preserved only in memories and local records, not in the vast databases that power the internet. Number of legacy zero individuals is shrinking. Modern government tracking, biometric voting systems, and mandatory digital banking are rapidly reducing the size of this group. As more people are required to interact with digital systems, the window for remaining truly invisible is closing. Still, hundreds of millions continue to live their lives outside the reach of global data collection. Consider the story of someone who lived and died with zero internet footprint. Even in developed places like Massachusetts, it's possible for a person to pass away without leaving any trace online. If their family chooses not to publish an obituary or create a digital memorial, their existence is recorded only in local physical records. This is a powerful reminder that digital invisibility is not just a developing world phenomenon. Many people assume that when someone dies, their record becomes public online, but in reality, access to death indexes has become heavily restricted. For example, the U.S. Social Security death index is no longer fully available online due to identity theft concerns. In states like Massachusetts, death certificates are physical records, not published on the internet. This means that many people's deaths are never indexed or searchable online. Obituaries used to be printed in local newspapers and later archived online. Today, many families opt for private ceremonies or skip public obituaries altogether to protect against scams. Even when funeral homes post notices online, these are often temporary or hidden from search engines. As a result, many lives pass without any lasting digital record, reinforcing the concept of legacy zero. There are billions of people who live entirely localized lives. They rent homes locally, shop with cash, and keep utilities in someone else's name. They never sign up for online accounts or post on social media. To the internet and AI, these people simply don't exist. Their lives are rich and full, but their stories are invisible to the digital world. If we use the strictest definition, someone who exists only in local, physical, or highly secure government databases and cannot be found by any internet or AI search, the number is staggering. About 50% to 60% of the world's population fits this description. That's billions of people who are, for all practical purposes, invisible to the digital world. Let's break it down further. There are 2.7 billion people who have never used the internet. Add to that another 1.5 to 2 billion who might use a smartphone for private chats or banking but have no public-facing profiles or records. When these individuals pass away, their lives are remembered only by those who knew them personally. To the internet, they are complete ghosts. Our definition of legacy zero isn't rare. It actually describes the silent majority of human history and a massive portion of today's world. Most people who ever lived left no searchable legacy. Their stories are passed down through family and community, not through digital archives. This is a profound reminder of how much human experience remains undocumented and unsearchable. Digital invisibility isn't limited to one generation. Older adults who never adopted technology and younger people in remote or rural areas both contribute to the legacy zero population. The mechanics of internet access, privacy laws, and cultural practices all shape who becomes invisible in the digital age. This generational divide is a key factor in understanding the true scope of legacy zero. Privacy laws play a huge role in keeping records offline. In many countries, birth and death certificates are not published online. Even in the digital age, these legal barriers protect individual privacy but also contribute to the invisibility of millions. The balance between privacy and legacy is a complex issue with no easy answers. In the past, death notices were posted in public places like post offices or local newspapers. Today, finding a death notice can be surprisingly difficult. Many are never published online, and those that are may be hidden behind paywalls or deleted after a short time. This shift makes it even harder to trace the lives of legacy zero individuals. Seeing a name in an online directory or a property record doesn't mean a person has a legacy. These are just data points, names, addresses, and numbers collected by automated systems. They tell us nothing about a person's life, values, or impact. Legacy zero is about the absence of meaningful biographical information, not just the absence of data. Even when a photo exists online, a yearbook scan, a company headshot, or a leaked ID, it often sits in isolation. Without a biography, achievements, or a story, these images are just static files. They don't tell us who the person was or what they meant to their community. Legacy zero is about the lack of narrative, not just the lack of presence. Only a tiny fraction of humanity escapes the legacy zero label. These are creators, writers, artists, and public figures whose lives are documented in detail. They leave behind digital and physical records, books, articles, interviews, and more. For the rest, their presence in the global archive is minimal or non-existent. For the remaining 7 billion people, their lives are background noise to the global archive. They work, love, and build families, but when they pass, their records are overwritten or deleted. The internet and AI eventually erase their presence, leaving no trace of their existence beyond local memories. The internet is a powerful tool for tracking consumers, but it's a terrible biographer. It's excellent at collecting data points but often blind to the true legacy of most people. Legacy zero captures this reality. The vast majority of humanity is invisible to the systems that claim to record our lives. With so many people at risk of being forgotten, how can we preserve legacies? Digital platforms offer new ways to document lives, but they also raise questions about privacy and control. The challenge is to balance the desire for remembrance with the right to be forgotten. This is an ongoing debate in the digital age. One approach to protecting privacy is data minimization, limiting the scope of data collected and stored. This helps protect consumers from unwanted tracking, but also means that less information is preserved for future generations. The trade-off between privacy and legacy is a central issue in today's digital world. Managing digital identity after death is an ethical challenge. Should families be allowed to create or delete online profiles? Who decides what is preserved and what is erased? As more of our lives move online, these questions become increasingly important for individuals and society. Automated data harvesters create the illusion that everyone is present online. But these algorithmic landing pages, names, ages, addresses, are just placeholders. They lack the depth and meaning of a true legacy. Legacy zero is about the absence of substance, not just the absence of data. A name in a phone book or a zip code in a database tells us nothing about a person's passions, relationships, or contributions. The internet is full of these empty shells, data without soul. Legacy zero reminds us that a true legacy is more than just a record. It's a story, a memory, a life lived. Most people's achievements are never documented online. They build families, help neighbors, and shape communities, but these acts rarely make it into the digital record. Legacy zero is a reminder that the most meaningful parts of life often go unrecorded, existing only in the memories of those who were there. In the global archive, most people are what you might call non-participating characters. They are present in the world but absent from the digital narrative. Their lives are rich and complex, but their stories are not told online. Legacy zero captures this silent, invisible majority. The open internet and global archives are dominated by a small group of people, those who create, publish, and share. For everyone else, their presence is fleeting or non-existent. This monopoly on legacy means that most lives are never fully documented or remembered by the wider world. When most people pass away, their digital records are eventually deleted or overwritten. Phone numbers are reassigned, addresses change hands, and online traces disappear. The reality is that forgetting is the default, not the exception, in the digital age. Despite the lack of digital records, the memories of Legacy Zero individuals live on in the hearts and minds of those who knew them. Family stories, community traditions, and personal relationships are powerful forms of legacy that don't require an internet connection. These memories are often more meaningful than any online profile. New tools and platforms are emerging to help people preserve their digital legacies. From online memorials to digital wills, these services offer ways to document and share life stories. However, access to these tools is uneven and many still remain outside the digital record. Some people actively choose to erase their digital footprints. Privacy laws in some regions allow individuals to request the removal of online data. This right to be forgotten is a double-edged sword. It protects privacy but also erases potential legacies from the public record. Throughout history, most people have been Legacy Zero. Before the digital age, only a small fraction of humanity left behind written records, art, or monuments. The vast majority lived and died without any lasting trace in the archives of history. This perspective helps us appreciate the scale of digital invisibility today. For some, being Legacy Zero is a conscious choice. They value privacy, anonymity, and the freedom to live without digital surveillance. This perspective challenges the idea that everyone should be documented or remembered online. Sometimes, invisibility is a form of empowerment. As we build more digital archives, we must consider the ethics of remembrance. Who gets to be remembered and who decides what is preserved? Balancing the right to privacy with the desire for legacy is a challenge for individuals, families, and societies. Looking ahead, the number of Legacy Zero individuals will likely continue to shrink as digital systems expand. However, the desire for privacy and the limits of technology mean that true invisibility will never disappear entirely. The question is not whether Legacy Zero will exist, but how we choose to define and value it. Ultimately, the most important legacies are those that matter to the people closest to us. Whether online or offline, the stories we share, the relationships we build, and the values we pass on are what truly endure. Legacy Zero is a reminder to cherish these connections, even if they never make it into the digital record. As we close, consider your own legacy. What do you want to be remembered for? Will your story be told online, or will it live on in the memories of those around you? Legacy Zero challenges us to think about what truly matters in the end: data or the impact we have on others. Today we explored the many meanings of Legacy Zero, from blood types and population growth to digital invisibility and the ethics of remembrance. We learned that most people, past and present, are invisible to the world's archives, but their legacies live on in ways that data can never capture. As technology evolves, the meaning of Legacy Zero will continue to change, but its core message remains: true legacy is about connection, not just record. Legacy Zero is more than a statistic. It's a lens for understanding what it means to be seen, remembered, and valued. Whether you leave a digital trail or not, your life has meaning. In a world obsessed with data, let's not forget the importance of the stories that never make it online. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the invisible majority.